Before I tell you all about Batman, how about you hit that like button so my boss will let me go home tonight. It's the mysterious, crime-fighting, jet-powered, bat-shaped supercar with gadgets galore and a heavy goth vibe. The Batmobile is an icon that's always evolving. Everyone has their favorite one, but which one came first? Which one is the craziest? And which one actually makes sense for fighting actual crime? Buckle up those utility belts and get yourself a kid to help you. This is everything you need to know to get up to speed on the Batmobile. Na 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 na.
Thanks to Display for sponsoring today's video. Whew, man. You can probably tell by my insane air thrashing that I'm a true metalhead. My music, metal. My clothing, metal. But my posters, not metal. Makes no sense. That's why I use Display for my wall art. Display is a one-of-a-kind metal poster, durable enough to last a lifetime. And a metal poster is too powerful for puny tape. That's why Display uses a badass magnet system, so you can set up, switch, and combine with ease. And they have over 1.3 million designs from over 40,000 artists, plus some of your favorites like Marvel, Star Wars, and even Initial D and vintage Hot Wheels posters. The most metal of them all, DreamWorks Shrek. A green ogre? Metal. Living in a swamp? Metal. Your best friend marrying a dragon at the end? The Metalist. So make sure you click the link in the description to apply our special discount onto your orders. Get 23% off if you order 1 or 2 disc plates and 27% off if you order 3 or more. And you can use that money to go see awesome metal bands like Gojira, Meshuggah, Tesseract, Converge, Deftones, Mind Force, Turnstile,
Batman has been every goth kid's favorite superhero since his 1939 debut in Detective Comics, which is what the DC in DC Comics stands for, making it Detective Comics Comics. The Batmobile is a huge part of what makes Batman so cool. He's one of the only superheroes with a car, and it's been around in one form or another since 1941. Now, between the comics, the TV show, the movies, the cartoons, there are more than 250 Batmobiles. So we're gonna focus on the ones that physically exist. So stick around to the end to find out why the 2022 Batmobile might be the best one yet. I love Robert Pattinson, man. You seen Lighthouse? For a lot of people, this is the first real Batmobile, the one from the kooky 60s TV show. It was created by one of the most famous dudes in custom cars, a guy named George Barris. George started out cutting, welding, and Frenching cars as a kid with tongue, and eventually he ended up creating cars for hot Hollywood shows like The Munsters and Batman. George was given just 3 weeks to build the first Batmobile. And if you're thinking that's not enough time to create the first real Batmobile from scratch, well, you're right. But George had a trick up his sleeve. He had a pretty dope looking Lincoln concept car sitting in his backyard. When it debuted at the 1955 Chicago Auto Show, people said it looked like a bat. And he remembered that. So he decided to remix the 1955 Lincoln Futura, which looked like this, into the Batmobile, which looked like this. See the resemblance? George and his crew finished the car just in time to meet the deadline, or as we like to call it, the call time. It's Hollywood, baby. The finished product didn't just look cool, it was brimming with all kinds of crazy superhero gadgets, like a frickin' bat phone, a frickin' bat computer, a bat scope, a bat magnet, a bat bazooka, and of course, automatic tire inflation. It also had a frickin' jet engine, which was just for show, but it's a big deal because almost every Batmobile since this one has an afterburner in the back. Case in point, Barris's Batmobile was an instant icon. It established the blueprint for the Dark Knight's dark ride. It made a lasting mark, and that's good because there wouldn't be another Batmobile for 21 years. Enter Tim Burton. This dude chose a darker, more serious interpretation of the Caped Crusader for his 1989 movie, Batman. His vision of Gotham City was gloomy and modern, but also steeped in Art Deco style from the 1930s. It required a completely new Batmobile. Thankfully, Burton and his team had way more time and way more resources to devote to the car. The Burton Batmobile was designed by a guy named Julian Caldo. He took inspiration from the 1959 Corvette Stingray concept car and long, sleek, land speed record cars like the Thrust 2. And you can totally see it. Another thing you can totally see is that he ripped off the back end of this jet-powered Fiat concept car from the 50s. Just made the fins into bat wings. Why not? Now the design looked fantastic. This is my Batmobile, but there was a little problem. The team had focused so much on aesthetics, they forgot to consider how Batman would get in the car. To solve this, they ended up creating a sliding canopy roof like the one in this old jet, which is cooler than regular freaking doors. Doors? No thank you. This little happy accident became another touchstone of Batmobile design. Batman doesn't step into the Batmobile like it's a freaking Honda Fit, he jumps into it. And think about it, he wears capes. It makes sense. The thing would get stuck in the door, drag on the ground. He'd look like an idiot. And the Riddler and the Joker and the Penguin, they'd all laugh at him. Ha ha ha! And he'd be like, hey, show me some respect. And they'd be like, it's kind of hard, pal. Your cape's dragging on the ground. Aw, come on, guys. And then they're like, yeah, right. And he's like, please. And they're like, no way. That is an excerpt from my Batman screenplay. Hollywood people, hit me up. This Batmobile was built on top of count them, two 80s Impala frames welded together, and a Chevy 350 V8 made it go. It also had some pretty ridiculous features that were only good for highly specific situations, like in Batman Returns when the cops are chasing Batman and his only chance at escape is blasting through this 3-foot wide gap between buildings. No problem, don't even worry about it. Dude just flips a switch and the sides of the car explode off and make it exactly skinny enough to fit through that exact gap. And then he just leaves the sides there. He's a millionaire. His parents are dead. He's got a death wish anyway. It's not sustainable. This is the kind of 80s and 90s glut that got us where we are today. You know, there's an island of plastic in the ocean. We're gonna try and gentrify it. The Batmobile stuck around for 2 movies. It took all of the coolest bits of Barris's Batmobile, made it darker and more goth, and pushed it farther. But there's a limit to how far you can push something before it becomes a mutant cartoon with a 10-foot vertical wing in the back. You know the phrase, everything in moderation? Bend it, don't break it? It applies to everything, especially Batmobiles. Now, in 1995, Batman got a new director. It's a new Batman. New Batmobile. Joel Schumacher was at the helm for Batman Forever. Old Schumi knew the Batmobile could make or break any Batman movie, so he assembled an entire design team to work on his version. After 5 big nopes, a guy named Tim Flattery showed Schumi a Batmobile that he finally liked. It was inspired by the work of H.R. Geiger, a Swedish artist famous for designing the aliens in the movie Alien. He also did the cover art for at least one Dead Kennedys album, and he drew a bunch of weird looking penises too. So check out his work if that's what you're into. Now you might think that giant vertical wing was too ridiculous to make the cut, right? Schumacher's Batmobile was 25 feet long and 10.5 feet tall. It took a team of more than 30 people, 8,000 hours to build. 2 Impala frames wouldn't cut it for this one. There's a full custom chassis under all that bat stuff, and just like the last Batmobile, they turned to a trusty Chevy 350 V8 to make it go. You, Ford. Now, this car was pretty modest in the gadget department, but it could drive up walls. All Batman had to do was redirect the car's jet afterburner to launch it off the ground, deploy grappling hooks to the top of the building, and then all you gotta do is give it the beans. Easy peasy. Now I'm up here with my car. This version of the Batmobile was the craziest and least practical one yet. There's only 2 ways to go from here, all right? Make it make sense, or you can make it more batshit. Joel Schumacher was kept on board to direct 1997's Batman and Robin. Yes, the one with the nipples. and he was pretty determined to eclipse Burton's run at Batman. So instead of reusing the previous Batmobile, he decided that a brand new one would be better. 2 Bat movies, 2 Batmobiles. Barbara Ling was in charge of production design this go round. So take a look at her IMDb photo. She looks like a Batman villain. Now keep that in mind, all right? Now, old Barb was adamant about 2 things. Number 1, give the car a classic roadster feel. And number 2, we gotta make it really, really long. So if that's what she wanted, consider this Batmobile a success, all right? It's got no roof, and it's 33 feet long. How does a car nearly as long as a freaking school bus help Batman fight crime? Imagine the turning radius. If you're Batman and you're following the Joker or the Penguin or the Riddler down a city street in Gotham, that's where you live, you're like, you're mine now, Joker. Please don't do a U-turn. Oh, he did a U-turn. Better make the block. Oh, that's a one-way. I hate driving downtown. Only someone who didn't want Batman to succeed would design a Batmobile like this. You know, someone like a Batman villain. Barbara, are you a Batman villain? Okay, so one of the best parts about Batmobile's gadgets. What do we got? Bombs that come out of the axles. Cool! Rocket launchers. Cool! Grappling hooks. Cool! Catapult ejection seat. Probably the whole reason they wanted a convertible. Cool! Also, we got radar and a video conferencing system. Cool! In 1997, they foresaw that we were gonna have all of our meetings on Zoom. Mind blown much? Now I understand that Joel Schumacher was trying to bring some of the kookiness of the 60s TV show into his Batman movies. But understanding why someone does something and liking the thing that they do are 2 very different things. This movie's ridiculous. It's some of the worst one-liners in history, and again, what kind of weird asshole puts nipples on a bat suit? You know, I heard that George Clooney actually demanded that he had to have nipples because he's a huge freak. And Chris O'Donnell would flick them between takes. If you want to learn more about superhero nipples, we ranked the top 10 superhero nipples on D-List. This movie was terrible. Batman needed a complete reboot, and so did the Batmobile. Pictures of a weird military vehicle showed up on the internet in 2004, something called the Batmobile. What the heck was this thing? And why were entertainment blogs posting about it? They said it was for a new Batman movie, but that didn't make any sense. That's how freaking shocking the Batman Begins Batmobile was. People didn't believe it was for a movie. That might sound crazy now, but you have to remember, we've been fed a steady diet of increasingly over-the-top, exotic, carish Batmobiles since the 1960s. This one asked people to completely rethink Batman, and that's exactly what director Christopher Nolan wanted. Up until this point, directors brought in teams to visualize what the new Batmobile would look like, but not Nolan. This dude came up with the idea on his own. His version of Batman was a caped vigilante who could exist in the real world. So he needed a Batmobile that could also live in the real world. Something that could hop curves, ram cars, and would generally make sense as a tool for urban warfare. But it still had to be fast, and it still had to look kind of exotic. He envisioned something like the love child of a tank and a Lamborghini. And after about 6 weeks of tinkering, Nolan and production designer Nathan Crowley settled on the Tumbler and came up with a genius backstory. This Batmobile was a military project developed by Bruce Wayne's company as a bridging vehicle. The contract in the movie didn't pan out, but a working prototype was just chilling in the basement at the office.
What's that? Oh, the tumbler? Oh, you wouldn't be interested in that.
And it had a working jet booster to help it jump stuff, which finally provided an explanation for the afterburner in the back. See? practical. Speaking of practical, Nolan told his special effects team the full-size tumbler had to be able to do all of the stunts in the script. He basically went to his team and he was like, yo, guys, make me a real Batmobile. I'm Batman. I'm Batman. I'm not Batman. The development process for the car was nuts. Working prototypes were tested until destruction, then rebuilt beefier until they could handle stuff like driving through cement barriers without a hiccup. And it cost several $1 million. The tech specs on the tumbler are impressive. It was a real world usable, 15-foot long, 9.5 foot wide, and 5,000 pounds. But the thing could scoot. We're talking 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds at a top speed of over a Honda. A 400 horsepower, 5.7 liter Chevy V8 made it so. Batman's a Chevy guy. The car was built on a fully custom tube chassis, which was covered in a bunch of carbon fiber body panels. It's got more than a foot of suspension travel to handle all those sick jumps, and a weird combo of dirt track tires up front and 4 huge mud tires out back give Batman the ability to handle a strange mixture of terrain. Sounds like it might plow a little bit. Gadgets. Front-mounted machine guns, rocket launcher, stealth mode, exploding tire spikes, radio jamming system, active aerodynamic panels, a ballistic missile defense system. Oh, and the whole thing can turn into a motorcycle. And not just any motorcycle, a Batsicle. At this point, part of me wants to call this episode done. The Tumbler is obviously the best Batmobile yet. Not only can it do almost everything it did in the movies in real life, it completely flipped the script on the Batmobile in the best way possible. From this point forward, for the most part, it was no longer a gimmicky set piece designed only for visual impact. Look at the next Batmobile from the 2016 movie Batman vs. Superman. It's a complete ripoff of the Tumbler. Whatever it was, it weighed almost 9,000 pounds, and it didn't do any of its own stunts. That movie was dumb. I don't like Ben Affleck. I don't like that other guy, Henry Cavill, or anything either. They only built one working Batmobile for this movie, for hero shots, and it used 2 modified Dodge Rams for all the action. The trucks were digitally altered to look like the Batmobile. Boo! Boo! That sucks! Combining the Tumbler with the ever-popular Batmobile was, okay, a decent idea, but it's fake. I want my Batmobile to be real. All right, so now we get to the part that we've been waiting for. There's brand new Batman coming out. It's called The Batman. It comes out tomorrow, or maybe tonight. Stars everyone's favorite former vampire lighthouse keeper, Bobby Pattinson. That's what I call him because we're friends. Now, details on the new Batmobile are few and far between right now, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that this new Batmobile doesn't suck. It looks like a beefed up muscle car. It's got an absolutely honking V10 hanging way too far out the back that shoots flames from a big ass center exhaust, but also from side dumps behind the front wheels. What's up there? Is this thing twin engine? I don't know. The new Batmobile shows off some impressive suspension travel, a decent ground clearance in the trailers, so practicality and versatility were obviously taken into context. And based on the trailers and like the fighting style and the suit and the costuming and the production design that I've seen, this thing is like gonna be the most like a car that we've seen in a Batmobile. And we've got no details on gadgets, which sucks, but something tells me they're gonna be pretty sparse and realistic. Director Matt Reeves said, the idea is this is the first Batmobile Bruce Wayne ever built, and he built it himself from whatever random pieces he could source. Now that's just as cool as Bruce coming across an abandoned military vehicle in the basement of his daddy's office building. Actually, it's way f***ing cooler, and I can't wait to see this f***ing movie. I'm gonna go today.
Check out the all-new donut sticker pack. 5 of your favorite donut designs ready to stick anywhere. And I mean anywhere. They stick to your bumper, your window, your laptop, a water bottle, a lunchbox, your lock's bunch, your best friend's back. Slap the beans on some beans. Put Yoda's tacos on a taco. RIP on some pop-ups. Slap your love for donut anywhere you want. Go to donutmedia.com and grab your pack today. And that's not all. We got a new hat. I'm wearing it. Next time you're off-roading out in the sticks, don't get lost. Find yourself with this all-new Find Yourself donut hat for just $24.98, which is so much cheaper than $30. And hurry up, because this merch is insano style, and it's gonna sell out quick. Donutmedia.com, go now.
Thank you so much for watching this video and everything else on Donut. To make sure you don't miss anything, hit that subscribe button. If you want to buy some donut stuff and rep the set, I'm wearing, this is a donut shirt. It's got my car on it. Go to donutmedia.com. We're dropping new stuff almost every week. It's a very exciting time to be alive. Hit the like button. I love you.